our pastoral staff at Christ Point Church. We also want you to know that if you have any questions, prayer requests, or need information on any of our ministry opportunities, you can email us at www.info@christpoint.church. We love you, and we are praying that this will be the best year yet. Welcome home.
It impacted me. I said, hey, we'll see you tonight. We got this one game, league championship. He said, yeah, we can't beat y'all. We're not good enough to beat y'all. They'd beat us already. But I'll never forget when I got back in the truck, I'm like, they can't win because they don't think they can win. So that's just a trivial little bitty thing. But we are what we think. And if the devil if he will convince us that everything is bad, and we're having a bad day, and I'm just a bad seed, just everything happens wrong to me, and I'm just never going to be, and it's always, you know what? He can get us to a place to where we will accept defeat. So, here's a true story. Talk about a bad day. I love this story. Here's a true story. A guy's working in his garage on his motorcycle. What's wrong with that, right? So a guy's working on a motorcycle in his garage. It comes off the stand, and I'm assuming he's got the RPMs kind of up real high, and he's working. Comes off the stand. It crashes through the garage door, glass door, into the house. Dude gets all cut up, and the bike leaks oil and gas all over the carpet. The paramedics come, and they take him to the ER. Well, his wife's, he's just going to sew him up. We'll go get him, bring him back. So his wife says, I'm going to stay back, clean up this gas and, all this. So she's cleaning up the gas with the toilet paper, and she throws the toilet paper in the toilet. So he comes back all stitched up and sore. He can barely move. He's like, he's barely going. So he wants to go to the bathroom. He goes to the bathroom. He lights a cigarette and throws the match in the toilet and blows his pants against that wall and him against that wall. Paramedics come back. When the paramedics come back, same paramedics, they laugh so hard they drop him off the stretcher and break his arm. This is a true story, guys. I'm like, I had to read it twice. This is a true story. It's awesome. It's just the best story in the world. So here's the thing. This guy was having a bad day, but he's not defeated. He was having a bad day. It started maybe with maybe I shouldn't have been revving the bike up right outside the garage door. So just because it's a bad day, just because it's a bad situation, just because it seems like it's a bad life, doesn't mean that we give up the chase. Doesn't mean we give up the chase. It's time to stop avoiding the pits and start chasing some lines. So, another similarity between Satan and the lion is neither one of them are used to being chased. Let's get this. Let's really understand this. Neither one of them. If the adversary, according to Peter's gospel or Peter's epistle, if the lion is if the adversary is like a lion, then they are basically twins in their mentality. They don't know how to be chased. They don't know how to be on the defensive, and they're not good at that. They're good at going on the offensive, attacking because they're confident. They're very confident. So let me say it again, and then I'm going to read 2 Samuel chapter 23. So neither is used to being chased. So let's keep that in mind. 2 Samuel chapter 23, verses 20 through 23. And Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, was a valiant man of Kabzeel and a doer of great deeds. He struck down 2 Ariels of Moab. So what that means is that's 2 champions. So 2 of Moab's greatest champions. He also went down, here we go, here's my guy. He went down into it struck down a lion in a pit on a snowy day when the snow had fallen. So here's where we're going to come back. Here's where we're going to talk. So he also struck down an Egyptian, and this dude was a handsome man. So let's make sure we understand what handsome means. Handsome means that he was regal-like, that his appearance was impressive. So we find that we've got an Egyptian over 7 feet tall, would qualify as a giant in the land. The Egyptian had a spear in his hand, but Benaiah went down to him with a staff and snatched the spear out of the Egyptian's hand and killed him with his own spear. Verse 22, These things did Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and won a name beside the 3 mighty men. Verse 23, he was renowned among the 30, but he did not attain to the 3. And David set him over his bodyguard. So all this is important. Notice something with me. He fought and defeated 2 champions that were lion-like. He fought and defeated 1 giant who was regal like a lion. And he defeated 1 beast who was a lion. So this guy was a lion chaser. So in life, we're going to have a few guarantees. I'm sorry to break this to you, but there will always be pits to conquer and always be lions to defeat. It's always going to be. So let's break down the enormity of this situation. Benaiah chased a lion. Now let's grab a hold of this. Who does that? Who does that? Who says, you know what? I'm going to chase that lion down. I'm going to grab him by his beard. I'm going to stab him in the throat. Who thinks this way? Who thinks this way? You know what? I want to go back to that movie. A movie came out about 20 years ago, and it was a very, very biblical-ish movie, Troy. And there was a guy on there, you know, his name was Brad Pitt. And this kid says, there's this guy that you got to fight, and he's enormous. I wouldn't fight him. He says, that's why nobody will ever remember your name. So I'm not saying that we have to do these things to get a name. I'm just saying we're not built to set back. We're not built to continue to be attacked. Benaiah chased a lion. Who does that? It was not only that it wasn't hard enough, it was cloudy, because we know it was cloudy because it was snowing. His footing was unsure. You know, I mean, just think about it. We come out here when it snows this much in 5 years, and we sweep off, and we put down some salt and stuff so you don't slip and slide when you come in, which we've used this much salt in 5 years, 10. So anyway, it's just one of those things, right? But his footing was unsure because it was slippery. The lion had twice the feet on the ground as Benaiah did. He was 2, maybe 3 times the weight of Benaiah and 20 times the grip because of his claws. And Benaiah runs this beast into a hole in the ground. It's dark, it's slick, and it's cold. So let's break it down. Key points. Key point number 1, no one expected him to win this fight. No one expected him to win this fight. No one expects the impossible to be possible except the Lord of the impossible. So everybody looks at the situation and judges what they see, not what they know. So in other words, everybody says you're not going to win. Key point number 2, most people don't think you can do it. Most people didn't think he could do it. Most people don't think you can do it. So let's just break this down. Bystanders probably yelled at, Benny, don't do it. Don't do it, Benny. You're going to get killed. He's going to eat you. Benny, he will be what you, bye. I mean, they're screaming, don't do this. Benaiah did something that no one else was willing to do. No one else was willing to do. You know, sometimes people will say you don't need to do this, but all the while you know I have to do this. You don't need to do this. You know, I'm just going to kind of go out on a limb here and just tell you, if you're in an atmosphere to where you have a good party atmosphere, you got a bunch of good party buddies around you, and you look around the room and you're looking at 6 guys that are going nowhere fast. And you're thinking, you know what? I don't want to be like this. So I'm going to step out of this atmosphere, and I'm going to I'm going to dictate a different world for myself. You can't do it. You can't do it. You know you have to have these drugs. You know you have to have this alcohol. You know you have to have this atmosphere. Someone has to step out and do what everyone else dares not do. So, we have to chase lions. Key point number 3, there's a why behind the what. There's got to be a why behind every what. So, Benaiah chases a lion, chases him into a hole in the ground. So he chases him. So why? Why do this? So, if we look at the reason why, you know, he's attacking the lion, when we read the story, maybe that lies between the lines of the story, we find that there's probably a reason why he's doing this. It's because probably he is devouring. So in other words, they're losing livestock maybe. They're losing their investment. Do you realize that back in those days, if something kills our livestock, then we have no food for the winter. Yeah, or if something attacks our families, then we have no family to continue our name. And maybe this lion was attacking. I'm not saying thus saith the Lord, but there's got to be a why behind the what. And the nature of the lion is to devour. So Big Ben was most likely defending. Maybe he was defending his family's ability to have meat to eat for the next 6 months. Maybe he's defending his family. Maybe he's defending his way of life, his people, his livestock. You know what? At some point, we got to stop and we got to say, look, I'm tired of being chased by the lion. I want to start defending my way of life, and I'm going to go on the offense, and I'm going to chase this thing. Pits are always going to be dark, guys. Key point number 4. Trials and trophies. See, here's the thing. Everybody wants a trophy. Man, everybody wants one of those. But not a lot of people want to go through the trial it takes to get to the trophy. You know, I'll be honest with you. I'm not a deer hunter. I know a bunch of our guys are deer hunters. And I know that trophies on the walls, you know, that let's just put it this way. Guys, when you kill a deer and you mount it and you put it in your living room, your wife does not want that there. I'm just telling you. She would rather you put it somewhere in the garage. So let me tell you, all your trophies will end up in a box one day or thrown away. So I'm just telling you, just I'm trying to, you know, you can be happy or you can be right in marriage. So let's figure it out. So I mean, we want a trophy, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to do what it takes to get one. I'm not going to buy a gun. I'm not going to go out in the woods. I'm not going to look for scrapes. I'm not going to put my fingers through deer poop. I'm not going, I believe he's been eating dogwood berries. I'm not going to do this stuff. And here's the biggest thing. I'm not going to sit in the cold and do this. I mean, if you were to tell me, look, I'm going to put you in a tree stand, it's going to be 20 degrees, and I'm going to get this big 10-point buck to come by, and you get to shoot him. But you got to get up at 3 a.m. Whoa. I'm out. Have no desire to do that. So anyway, you know what? Take a picture of it. Take a picture of it, put it on Facebook. I'll be happy with you. So, but here's the thing. I'm not willing to go through what it takes to get there. Do you realize that I saw a guy on TV that's my age that went from, you know, a little bit not looking fit to being like all cut up and built and worked out? And I'm like, I could do that at my age. But I'm not willing to go through what it takes to get there. I'm like, this will be fine. I'm okay. I like the way I look, I guess. I'm just going to have to stay there. So everybody wants a trophy, but nobody wants to go through what it takes to get the trophy. The trials. The trophy is what you display. The trial is what you endure in order to get the trophy. So the trial is what we go. The trial is what refines us. The trial is what makes us better. Because I'm going to tell you, it doesn't matter how many of those deer heads you have mounted on your walls, you are a better deer hunter because of the trials you went through to get it. The work that you put into it. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Those things are the result of this hard work. And people like, look, you know what? I want to walk with the Lord. I want to walk with the Lord so badly. Are you willing to walk so badly that you're willing to give something up? Well, no, I didn't say that. I want the magic pill. I want the Matrix magic pill. I want it to be quick and instant. Well, we have to go through the trials in order to get there. So, key point number 5. Sometimes we're called to play offense. Sometimes we're called to play offense. So, Benaiah was offensive in his attack of the lion. I mean, this thing starts roaring. This thing, all of a sudden, he knows where it is. Instead of there, the lion's coming. Benaiah's like, I'll get that thing. I'll chase him down. You just point me where I'll track him in the snow. You think, well, the snow would make it worse. Not if you're tracking him. It would make it worse. So, we have to go to the offensive. Notice what the word says. He went down. Benaiah went down. In other words, he went down inside the earth. He made a point. And I got to say, you've got to be fed up to get to this point. You've got to say, I've had enough to get. At some point, stop running away from the ball and start throwing the ball. At some point, stop trying to keep the devil from scoring and start scoring ourselves. At some point, it's our job. At some point, we're going to have to get to, I'm tired, I'm fed up. Sometimes we just got to get to enough is enough. See, he went down, meaning he went very possibly into the actual home, the layer of the line itself. Key point number 6, opportunity over obstacle. Big Ben had maybe one opportunity. I got maybe one opportunity. One only opportunity. And he seized it. When the moment comes around, you either seize the moment or the moment seizes you. I got that from a movie from like 1996. I loved it. It's funny. It's a comedy. When the moment comes around, you either seize the moment or the moment seizes you. So, how does this apply to us today? We can either view the pits in front of us and the lines around us in fear or in faith. I'm pretty sure that Benaiah didn't go down there wondering if he could defeat this line. I'm pretty sure he didn't go down there hoping that he could come back without, missing a limb. I'm pretty sure that he didn't have this I hope or I pray or I'm scared mentality. I think he went down there in faith rather than fear. See, lines are many times opportunities in disguise. People will always scream, don't do it, don't do it, you can't do it. Fear will always make the lines larger and the pits slipperier. Fear is low risk. Guys, fear is low risk. It's just straight up low risk. Let's just say I have an opportunity to go from job A to job B. I've been in job A for 20 years. But I can create more freedom and trust me, when you leave job A, they're not even going to give you a watch anymore. They're going to have you turn in your card and make sure you can't get back in the house, pat you on the back and say, have a good life. They don't care. So you have an opportunity to go from point A to point B, job A to job B. I can take job B, and you know what? I'll make about the same amount of money, but I have more freedom. It takes high risk to go from point A to job A to job B. Fear is low risk. Just look, I'm afraid. What are you afraid of? Well, I'm afraid that I've got so much here and I've got to stop. What are you afraid of? Fear is low risk. I'll never forget, the very first Sunday I preached at this church. We were pathetic. Tina and I, our crew, man, we were just awful. So the very first Sunday, I'm like, man, I don't know. And I went, sit down with a friend of mine. We were at kind of like a little farm gathering thing. Sat down and said, sit here, tell me what's going on. I want to hear about what's going on. I said, well, here's what this and that. But see, I'm credentialed in this church, this denomination. She said, so? I said, well, I'm afraid I would lose that. She said, so? What do you care? If God tells you to do it, fear is low risk. You got to do it. And you know what? We did. It was like, okay, I can't help what you think. I got to do what God thinks. So sometimes sometimes we have to look at opportunity over obstacle. How does this apply to us today? Fear is low risk. Faith says take a risk. Key point number 7. What if? Just what if? What if our greatest victory is on the other side of our faith journey? But we're too scared to take our faith journey, so we're just, I'm out. What if our greatest breakthrough, what if our greatest victory is on the other side of our faith journey? We've got to see this thing to the other side. Lions don't go into pits and just hang out and come and never come back. They come back. They come back hungry. What if the life that we really search for is hiding in our biggest problem? What if it's hiding in our largest lion and our darkest pit? Key point number 8. The greatest opportunities are still the scariest lines. The greatest opportunities are still the scariest lines. I'm going to tell you, I don't care how much faith we have, it still does not grind his teeth down. It still does not make him less fierce. It still does not make him want to eat us. We still have to have a respect for the line, for the attack. But when we're on the offensive, he's a little bit caught off guard. Key point number 9, impossible odds set the stage for amazing miracles. Impossible odds set the stage for amazing miracles. Well, I can't do this. Well, of course you can't do it. If you could do it, then why would you need God? You know, Mark Batterson says we have to pray audacious prayers and believe for audacious beliefs. God said, I'll never forget Mark Batterson, I think it was in this actual book. He says, look, if your vision and your dreams doesn't make God nervous, then reevaluate it. In other words, we should look at it and say, and that's just, hypothetically speaking, but we should look at everything and say, look, you know what? I'm going to do this, and what God is calling me to do, I can't do it on my own. There is no way I can do this. If everybody's not nervous about what God's called us to, if our dreams are too small for God, then they're too small for us. So, key point number 10, lion chasers are more afraid of missing God-ordained opportunities than the possibility of making a few mistakes. Lion chasers are more afraid of missing the God-ordained opportunities. So I'm willing to make mistakes, but I'm not willing to miss out on the blessing that comes with the opportunity to take the lion by the mane. So I know not everybody's a take the lion by the beard type of person. But you know what? At some point we got to figure out how we're going to make this fight work. So key point number 11. When we fail to step out and chase lions, I really want you to get this. When we fail to step out and chase lions, will God be robbed of the glory that belongs to Him? I called you to this. I called you to evangelize your workplace. I called you to stand firm in your Christianity in the school. I called you to lead a small group, to facilitate, not lead, but to facilitate a small group. I called you to launch a church. I called you to launch a business. I called you to give God the glory. If we don't step out and chase our lines, because everything's going to tell us we can't do it. Everything is going to be the people on the hill saying, Benny, don't do it. Benny, you're going to get it. You're going to be supper. Bye-bye, Benny. So everything is saying, Ben, you can't do it. But when we fail to step out and chase lions, are we robbing God of the glory that belongs to Him? Because we say, hey, how in the world did you guys do this? I don't know. All I know is God got the glory. That's all I know. How did this happen? God got the glory. That's all I know. See, Big Ben chased a lion into a pit and killed it. It's not like alone was hard enough. Just don't go hunting lions by yourself. So, it's not like alone was hard enough. But God chose the worst of conditions to make this harder. The day was dark. We know the day was dark because it was cloudy, because it was snowing. It was snowing on top of that means that the footing was more unsure. Makes the sides and the pits slipperier. Can't stand up. Lions really don't have a problem with that because their claws can hold them. It's impossible to gain footing. It's not like hard wasn't hard enough. Alone wasn't hard enough by itself. Maybe it's because faith and fear are always pulling in opposite directions. An opportunity can only be envisioned through faith. So remember, lions and Satan have this one thing in common. I want us to get this today. They don't know how to be chased. They don't like being chased. Lions don't like being chased. They're not familiar with it. They're not gifted at it. Satan doesn't like being chased because he doesn't think that you know how to fight him. He doesn't think that he thinks that everyone in here is afraid of the pit. You're not afraid of the pit. I'm telling you right now, you are a lion chaser. And you're not afraid of the pit. I'm not afraid of the pit. I respect the pit, but I'm not afraid of the pit. I'm not afraid of the lion. I respect the lion, but I'm not afraid of him. Lions and Satan, they're not used to being on defense. They have no attack when they're running away. Lions can't bite you when you're biting them. We're running away. The devil is afraid of you right now, and some of us just don't know it yet. Let's show that picture number 2 from last week. See, here's what it really looks like. Lions have a way of making us afraid, but when we see the lions in this light, we realize that they're running. You know what? If they can't get their way, they will run away. So remember this picture. Keep it in your mindset. Probably going to show it every week. So Mark chapter 5. When we chase the lion and grab him by the mane, it will look like this woman in Mark chapter 5. This woman, she had a bleeding issue. And this woman had to do something that nobody else was willing to do. Years and years and years had this problem, this major problem, this medical problem. And I got an opportunity when Jesus comes by. She sees an opportunity. I can seize on this opportunity, but I'm afraid to press in. You know what? She sees her pit come by. Because she sees her Jesus in the middle of a bunch of guys. And if I can just touch him, I'm going to die if I don't touch him. See, she had to grab a hold of the lion. She had to go deep into the pit, stare down her lines, touch the garment of the divine, seize the moment, face her lines, ignore the voices, and exit her pit victorious and healed. Behind every line is a victory, and every pit is an opportunity to glorify the Lord. Hey, thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for spending some time with us in service at Christ Point Church. And just wanting you to know that we love you guys, and you are an important part of Christ Point Church. If you're disconnected or in another state, or you want more updates, please visit us on our website. You can email us at info@christpoint.church. And if you want to know how to give, we have a text to give. You can see it flashing right now. Also, you can give on the app. A lot of people are asking about that. So we just want you to know that you are a vital and important part of Christ Point Church. Now, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for spending some time with us online and on TV. We are real people, living real lives, serving a real God. Welcome home.